Nadie, quiereNecesito, un esposo. Rogo la mujer apache al ranchero por una última oportunidad. Ana had always felt like she was on the outside looking in. Growing up in a small town near the rolling hills and dry plains of northern Mexico, she had never felt fully accepted by the people around her. She was an Apache woman, proud of her heritage, but in her village, that sometimes made her different. The other women would whisper when she passed, commenting on her strong will, her sharp tongue, or the way she refused to follow traditions that did not make sense to her. Ana tried to ignore them, tried to focus on her life, but the words always found a way to settle in her mind like dust in a corner of a room. From a young age, Ana learned to take care of herself. Her parents had been forced to leave their land when she was a little girl, and the family had struggled to find a place in the new town. Her mother worked long hours in the fields, and her father took odd jobs whenever he could. Ana remembered standing in the dusty streets as a child, watching other kids play freely while she ran errands or helped with chores. She grew strong, independent, and determined not to rely on anyone else, because she had learned early that the world could be harsh, and no one would protect her unless she protected herself. Despite her strength and intelligence, Ana felt a deep ache inside. She was approaching her late 20s, and the village women around her were beginning to marry, start families, and speak of love in the kind of soft, gentle voices Ana had never heard directed toward her. She wanted those things too. She wanted someone to see her, not as a strong woman to be tamed, but as a person who could be loved for who she was. But the village seemed blind to her worth. Many of the men were afraid of her independence or intimidated by her bold spirit. Others simply overlooked her because she didn't fit their expectations of a quiet, obedient woman. Ana felt invisible. She often wandered alone through the hills and plains surrounding her town, listening to the wind move through the grasses, watching the sun turn the sky into a canvas of oranges and reds at sunset. She loved the quiet beauty of the land, the way it reminded her of the freedom she had in her heart. Yet even here, away from the eyes of the village, a feeling of emptiness settled over her. She wanted someone to share it with, someone who could see the world as she did, someone who would stand beside her rather than try to hold her down. Her thoughts often returned to the rancher, Mr. Herrera. He was a man of considerable reputation in the region. Widowed for several years, he was known for his strong work ethic and kind heart. People respected him, even feared him in some ways, because he carried himself with a quiet authority that few could challenge. He was not cruel, but he was a man who had learned from life's hardships. Ana had seen him in the market, buying supplies for his ranch, and occasionally she had noticed him helping neighbors with tasks they could not manage alone. He seemed different from the men in her village, not judgmental, not small-minded, and certainly not the kind to be frightened by a woman like her. As weeks turned into months, Ana's longing grew. She tried to ignore it, tried to convince herself that she could be happy alone, that she could continue living her life without someone beside her. But the truth was harder to face. She wanted a family, a partner, someone who would choose her willingly. She wanted to belong somewhere, not just in a place but in someone's life. Her pride made it difficult to admit, even to herself, but every night as she lay under the vast, starlit sky, she whispered the truth. I am tired of being alone. I need someone. One day, after another long afternoon helping her mother gather vegetables from the garden and carrying water from the well, Ana made a decision. She could no longer wait passively for life to bring someone to her. She had to take action. She would go to Mr. Herrera's ranch and speak to him honestly, directly. She did not know if he would listen, or if he would even take her seriously, but she knew she had to try. She spent the evening preparing herself, smoothing her hair, choosing simple clothes that were neat but practical, and practicing what she would say. Her mother noticed her unusual nervousness and asked what was wrong. Anna hesitated but eventually admitted her plan. Her mother's eyes softened and she placed a gentle hand on Anna's shoulder. "If this is what you truly want, Anna, then speak your truth. Be honest, be brave, and let him see your heart. That is all anyone can ask." The next morning, Anna set out for the ranch. The road stretched before her, dusty and lined with dry shrubs and hardy grasses. She could see the ranch in the distance, the buildings small against the wide sky, the fields of cattle grazing in the sunlight. Her heart pounded with a mixture of fear and anticipation. Every step seemed heavier than the last, but she pressed on, repeating her own mantra: courage, honesty, hope. When she arrived, Mr. Herrera was outside, tending to his horses. He looked up as she approached, his brow furrowed slightly, curious. Anna felt a flutter of nerves in her chest but squared her shoulders and spoke. "Sir," she began, her voice trembling but steady, I have come because I have no one left to turn to. Nobody wants me, and I need someone to see me for who I am. I need a husband." Herrera blinked, taken aback by her directness. It was unusual for a woman to speak with such honesty, such urgency. He did not respond immediately, instead studying her carefully. Anna's eyes were pleading, but they were also filled with strength and determination. She was not weak, she was desperate, yes, but she had courage as well. Herrera finally spoke, his voice calm but firm. "Anna, this is a serious request. Marriage is not something to be asked lightly. You must understand that I cannot promise anything." Anna nodded, a small shiver running through her. "I understand, sir. I only ask that you consider me. Please give me a chance to show you who I truly am." With that, she turned and left the ranch for the day, her heart heavy but her spirit unwilling to break. She returned to her small home in the village, not knowing what the future held but feeling, for the first time in many years, that she had taken control of her life. The decision to speak her truth, to risk rejection for the possibility of love, gave her a strange but comforting sense of strength. That night, Anna sat by the window, watching the moon rise over the plains. The quiet of the night surrounded her, and she whispered once again to the stars, "Please let him see me. Let him understand me." She knew the road ahead would be difficult. There would be challenges, doubts, and fears. But for the first time, she felt that perhaps life had opened a door for her, one that she could walk through if she had courage enough to take the next step. Anna could not stop thinking about her visit to the ranch. Every day, she replayed the moment she had spoken to Mr. Herrera in her mind, analyzing every look, every pause, every word. She wondered if she had sounded too desperate, if he had laughed inwardly at her request, or if he had truly considered her courage. She tried to distract herself with her chores, helping her mother, mending clothes and running errands, but nothing could fill the emptiness of waiting. Meanwhile, life at the ranch continued as usual. Mr. Herrera was a man of routine. He rose before sunrise, checking the cattle and tending to the horses, making sure the fences were strong and the fields were well cared for. He prided himself on running his ranch efficiently, believing that work was the foundation of a good life. But even in the midst of this busy routine, the encounter with Anna lingered in his mind. He found himself thinking about her honesty, her boldness, and the fire in her eyes. It was unlike anything he had seen in a woman before. After a few days, Mr. Herrera decided to speak to Anna again. He had heard the whispers in the village about her, some respectful, some critical, but that did not change his curiosity. He wanted to understand the woman who had come to him so openly, a woman who had taken a risk that few had the courage to take. He found her in the small garden behind her home, carefully watering the rows of vegetables. She looked up as he approached, slightly startled but did not step back. There was a calm confidence in her posture, a sign that she was not easily intimidated. Mr. Herrera cleared his throat. "Anna," he began, "I have been thinking about what you said the other day. I want to see what kind of person you are. If you are willing, I would like you to come to the ranch and help me with some work." Anna's heart skipped a beat. This was her opportunity, not a promise but a chance. She nodded quickly, feeling a mix of nervousness and excitement. "I will do my best, sir," she replied. The next morning, Anna arrived at the ranch. The air smelled of hay, earth, and animals, a combination that made her feel alive in a way that the quiet village never had. Mr. Herrera met her at the gate, his expression unreadable. "We will start with the cattle today," he said. "You need to learn to handle them carefully. A single mistake can cause injury or worse." Anna nodded, listening carefully. She had spent her childhood around animals, helping on small farms, but the size of this ranch and the number of cattle were new to her. She followed Mr. Herrera as he guided her through the fields, explaining how to check the cattle, how to read their movements, and how to anticipate problems before they happened. He watched her closely, noting how she learned quickly, asking intelligent questions and not shrinking from the hard work. Hours passed under the blazing sun. Anna's arms ached, her back was sore, but she felt a sense of pride she had never known before. She was contributing, proving herself not just with words but with action. The rancher noticed her determination and nodded approvingly. "You have courage, Anna," he said. "Not many people would face this work without complaint." The days turned into weeks. Anna continued to help at the ranch, learning more about the animals, the land, and the rhythm of life there. She grew stronger physically and mentally, her confidence building with each small victory. She learned to ride the horses, mend fences, and even repair broken tools. The ranch, which had once seemed intimidating, began to feel like a place where she could belong. During this time, Anna and Mr. Herrera began to talk more. Their conversations were simple at first, about work, the weather, and the animals, but gradually they shared stories of their past. Anna spoke of her childhood, the struggles her family faced, and the lessons she had learned about resilience and self-reliance. Mr. Herrera listened quietly, occasionally sharing his own memories of loss and hardship. These exchanges were slow, careful, but they created a foundation of trust. Anna began to see that the rancher was more than just a stern figure. He was a man who had experienced life deeply and had chosen kindness despite his losses. However, it was not always easy. Anna faced challenges that tested her patience and determination. One day, a strong windstorm swept across the plains, knocking down fences and scattering the cattle. Anna worked tirelessly alongside Mr. Herrera and the ranch hands to round up the animals and repair the damage. Her hands were blistered and her clothes were torn, but she did not complain. The rancher watched her, impressed by her resilience. In that moment, he realized that her courage was not just a fleeting quality, it was a part of who she was. As they worked side by side, a quiet respect grew between them. Anna admired Mr. Herrera's calm authority and his careful attention to detail. She appreciated that he treated her as an equal, not as someone to be controlled or judged. For his part, Herrera admired her strength, her intelligence, and her honesty. He had met many people in his life, but few had shown the combination of courage and humility that Anna displayed. Despite these growing feelings, Anna could not ignore the fear that lingered in her heart. She worried that her hope for love was unrealistic, that the connection she felt with Mr. Herrera might be practical rather than heartfelt. She tried to focus on her work and the routines of the ranch, but at night, her thoughts returned to the possibility of a future together. She wondered if he saw her as more than just a helper, if he recognized her longing for companionship and love. One evening, as the sun dipped below the horizon, painting the sky in shades of orange and pink, Anna and Mr. Herrera sat by the corral, resting after a long day. The air was calm, the only sounds the gentle lowing of the cattle and the rustling of the grasses. Anna spoke quietly. "I did not expect this work to be easy, but I enjoy it. I feel like I am learning, growing, and I am grateful for the chance." Herrera nodded, his eyes thoughtful. "You have shown great strength, Anna." Not many people would endure these challenges with such grace. You have earned my respect, and I see more in you than most would bother to notice." Anna's heart warmed at his words. She felt a small spark of hope, a feeling she had not allowed herself to experience for a long time. Perhaps, she thought, this could be the beginning of something more than work, something deeper, based on understanding and mutual respect. Over the following weeks, the bond between Anna and Mr. Herrera continued to grow. They faced daily challenges together, repairing fences, tending to the fields, and caring for the animals. Anna's skills improved steadily, and her confidence blossomed. The rancher began to trust her judgment, allowing her to make decisions and handle tasks independently. Each success strengthened their connection, building a quiet foundation for something more significant. Anna's nights were still filled with reflection and wonder. She would sit by the window of her small home, watching the stars and thinking about the day's events. The work at the ranch had changed her in ways she had not anticipated. She felt capable, valued, and increasingly connected to someone outside her immediate family. And though she remained cautious with her emotions, she allowed herself to imagine a future where she and Mr. Herrera could share life together, not as master and helper, but as partners who respected and cared for each other. One afternoon, as Anna guided a stubborn horse through the corral, she stumbled and almost fell. Mr. Herrera caught her arm just in time, steadying her. For a moment, their eyes met, and an unspoken understanding passed between them. It was a small moment, but it carried weight. Anna felt a flutter in her chest, realizing that their connection was growing beyond work and respect. Herrera, too, felt something he had not allowed himself to feel in years, a spark of hope, a recognition that companionship could be found even in unexpected places. By the end of the month, Anna had proven herself not just as a helper but as a partner in the daily life of the ranch. She had faced challenges, endured hardship, and shown resilience, intelligence, and courage. Mr. Herrera had come to appreciate her presence, her strength, and her honesty. And Anna, in turn, had begun to trust the man who had once seemed distant and untouchable. The stage was set for the next chapter of their story, a chapter where the bond between them would be tested not by work alone, but by emotions, choices, and the complexities of opening one's heart to another person. Anna had grown more comfortable at the ranch over the past few weeks, but the life there was not without its difficulties. Every day brought a new challenge, and she quickly realized that living and working on a ranch required more than courage. It demanded patience, quick thinking, and resilience. The cattle were unpredictable, the weather harsh, and the tasks physically exhausting. Yet she found herself enjoying the work in a way she had never anticipated. It gave her a sense of purpose, a feeling that she was contributing to something larger than herself. One morning, Mr. Herrera approached Anna with a serious look. "Anna," he said, "I need you to help me with a task that is not easy. There is a horse near the east pasture that no one has been able to tame. It is wild and dangerous. Many men have tried and they failed. I believe you can help." Anna felt a mixture of fear and excitement. She had ridden horses before, but nothing like this. This horse was known in the ranch as untameable, and just the thought of approaching it made her heart race. Yet she did not hesitate. "I will try, sir," she replied firmly. Herrera guided her to the pasture where the horse waited. It was a magnificent animal with a glossy black coat and sharp, wary eyes. As soon as it saw Anna, it stamped its hooves and snorted, sending a clear warning. Anna took a deep breath, reminding herself to stay calm. She had learned from Herrera that fear could make the animal sense weakness. She moved slowly, speaking softly, and approached the horse with steady hands. The first few minutes were tense. The horse backed away, ears pinned, nostrils flaring. Anna did not panic. She mirrored the calmness she had seen Herrera display countless times. Slowly, she extended her hand, offering reassurance. The horse sniffed, hesitated, and then backed off. Ana stepped back, giving it space, and tried again. Over and over she repeated the process, learning to read its movements, predicting its reactions, and earning its trust little by little. Hours passed, and the sun climbed higher in the sky. Ana's arms ached, and sweat dripped down her face, but she continued patiently. Herrera observed silently from a distance, impressed by her determination and composure. Unlike others who had tried to tame the horse through force or quick tricks, Ana relied on understanding, empathy, and patience. Finally, as the afternoon approached, the horse allowed her to touch its neck, and then, surprisingly, it followed her calmly when she led it back to the corral. Herrera's face broke into a rare smile. "Ana," he said, "I am impressed. You have a gift for understanding animals, and you have proven your courage and patience. Not everyone could have accomplished this." Ana felt a surge of pride and relief. This was more than a task completed. It was a moment that proved to herself and to Herrera that she belonged on the ranch. But life was not always so straightforward. While Ana was learning, adapting, and proving herself, the village continued to whisper. Some women envied her, claiming she was trying too hard to impress the rancher. Some men laughed behind their hands, saying that no independent woman could ever be part of the quiet life of the ranch. Ana could not completely escape the gossip, but she learned to focus on what mattered: the work, the bond she was building with Herrera, and her own sense of accomplishment. One afternoon, Ana faced a personal challenge. She was sent to the far end of the ranch to repair a broken fence before the cattle wandered into the neighboring fields. The sun was blazing, and the work was hard. Midway through, a gust of wind blew dirt into her eyes, and one of the cattle broke free, running wildly toward the road. Ana's heart raced. She shouted, ran, and tried to guide the animal back, but it resisted. Just then, Herrera arrived on horseback, swiftly taking control. Together, they managed to corral the runaway cow. Afterward, Herrera dismounted and looked at Ana. "You handled that well," he said. "Many would have panicked, but you stayed focused. You have the strength to face challenges, both physical and emotional." Ana felt a mix of exhaustion and pride. She realized that life on the ranch required more than physical strength. It demanded calmness under pressure, a steady mind, and trust in those around her. As Ana became more confident in her work, she began noticing small changes in her feelings toward Herrera. She admired his patience, his wisdom, and the quiet kindness he showed not only to her but to every animal and person around him. She realized that respect was growing into something deeper, though she tried to keep her emotions in check. Herrera, too, was beginning to see Ana in a new light. He had encountered many people in his life, but few had demonstrated such courage, resilience, and honesty. Her presence brought a subtle warmth to the ranch that he could not ignore. One evening, after a long day, Ana and Herrera sat on the porch of the ranch house, watching the sun set over the vast plains. The air was calm, filled with the sounds of cattle and the distant cry of birds returning to their nests. Ana felt a quiet peace she had never experienced before. She turned to Herrera and spoke softly. "I have learned so much here. I feel stronger, more capable. And I feel that I am part of something larger than myself." Herrera nodded. "You have done more than learn, Ana. You have proven yourself in ways that go beyond work. You have shown courage, patience, and intelligence. These qualities are rare, and they tell me that you are someone special." Ana felt her heart flutter. For the first time, she considered that Herrera might see her as more than a helper, as more than a young woman seeking a husband. Perhaps, she thought, he could see her as a partner, someone who belonged alongside him. But the growing connection was not without challenges. Ana had to confront her own doubts and fears. She wondered whether her growing feelings were merely a result of gratitude or if they were genuine affection. She worried that Herrera might view her as useful but not truly equal. Meanwhile, Herrera struggled with memories of his late wife. He had not allowed himself to feel close to anyone in years, fearing the pain of loss would return. Yet, Anna's presence stirred emotions he had long suppressed, challenging the walls he had built around his heart. The true test came when a sudden illness struck one of the ranch hands. The man was weak and unable to care for the cattle he was assigned to, and the rest of the workers were overwhelmed. Anna immediately stepped in, taking over the tasks without complaint. She worked from dawn to dusk, feeding the animals, cleaning the stalls, and checking the fences. Herrera observed her tireless effort and dedication, realizing that her courage was not limited to taming horses or completing difficult tasks. She was willing to face hardship for the sake of others. That night, after the ranch was quiet and the stars blanketed the sky, Herrera spoke to Anna in a rare moment of vulnerability. "Anna," he said, "you have proven yourself in ways I could not have imagined. I see your strength, your courage, and your heart. You have earned my respect, and more than that, you have earned my trust." Anna looked at him, feeling a mix of relief and warmth. For the first time, she sensed that her courage and persistence had begun to break through the barriers between them. The weeks that followed were filled with a growing bond between Anna and Herrera. They faced small challenges and big ones, each day teaching them patience, trust, and understanding. The ranch became more than a place of work. It became a space where Anna and Herrera could see each other clearly, recognize each other's strengths, and build a foundation of respect and companionship. Anna learned that courage was not just about facing physical challenges. It was about being open, honest, and willing to trust others. Herrera learned that opening his heart again was possible, even after years of loss. By the end of the third month, Anna had firmly established herself as an integral part of the ranch. She had faced challenges, tamed the wild horse, guided runaway cattle, and supported the ranch hands in times of need. Herrera had come to admire her in ways he had not expected, recognizing not only her skill but also her resilience, kindness, and honesty. And Anna, in turn, felt a growing sense of belonging, a feeling she had longed for all her life. One evening, as Anna tended to the horses, she realized that her feelings had shifted from respect and admiration to something deeper. She cared for Herrera, not just as a mentor or a man of authority, but as someone whose presence enriched her life. She wondered if he felt the same way. Herrera, meanwhile, watched her quietly, feeling emotions he had long thought buried. He realized that he was beginning to see Anna not just as a capable helper, but as a person he could respect, trust, and perhaps even love. The stage was set for the next chapter, where their growing bond would face emotional challenges and external pressures. Anna had proven herself, but now the question remained. Could this connection withstand the complexities of heart and life? And could Herrera allow himself to open fully to the possibility of love once more? Life at the ranch had become a rhythm for Anna, one that she had grown to love. Every morning she woke with the sun, feeding the animals, checking fences, and helping Herrera with the daily tasks that kept the ranch alive. The work was hard, but it was meaningful. She felt pride in what she accomplished, and slowly a sense of belonging had taken root in her heart. Yet, the more she became part of the ranch, the more she realized that life was not only about work, it was also about the people and the challenges they brought. As Anna and Herrera grew closer, the quiet bond between them became noticeable to others. The ranch hands began to speak in hushed tones, commenting on how the rancher relied on Anna more and more, not just for work, but for guidance. The village, too, was beginning to take notice. Some of the women whispered in the market, questioning why Anna, a young woman known for her independent spirit, was spending so much time at the ranch. Others envied her, seeing her growing influence as a sign of her rising status. Anna tried to ignore the gossip, but it pricked at her, a reminder that the world could be harsh and judgmental. Meanwhile, Herrera faced his own internal struggles. He had spent years living alone, relying on routine and work to fill the void left by his late wife. Opening his heart again felt frightening. Anna's presence stirred feelings he had long suppressed: affection, admiration, and even the beginnings of love. But he worried that allowing himself to feel too deeply could lead to pain. He was cautious, careful not to let his emotions guide his decisions too quickly. Yet, every day, as he watched Anna work tirelessly, as he listened to her thoughtful questions and quiet laughter, he felt the walls around his heart slowly giving way. One day, a neighboring rancher visited, bringing troubling news. A herd of cattle had wandered into his fields, causing damage and anger. He blamed Herrera, claiming negligence, and demanded compensation. Herrera knew that managing the situation would require careful negotiation and immediate action to prevent further conflict. Anna, witnessing the tension, stepped forward. "I can help," she said, her voice steady. "I know how to guide the cattle back and repair the fences. If we act quickly, we can avoid more trouble." Together, they worked from sunrise to late afternoon, rounding up the cattle, repairing fences, and calming the neighboring rancher with a plan to compensate for the damages. Herrera was impressed by Anna's leadership, her calmness under pressure, and her ability to handle both animals and people with grace. The experience strengthened their trust and respect for each other, but it also reminded them that life outside the ranch could be unpredictable and challenging. As the days passed, Anna faced another challenge: her own doubts. She worried constantly about whether her feelings for Herrera were reciprocated. She wondered if he saw her as a capable worker, a helper, or truly as a woman he could love. Some nights, she lay awake, staring at the stars, imagining different scenarios and fearing rejection. Her pride made it difficult to speak openly about her feelings, yet she knew that the bond she had with Herrera had grown beyond work alone. It was emotional, personal, and real. Herrera, too, grappled with uncertainty. He recognized the growing attachment he felt toward Anna, but struggled with the idea of love after loss. The memory of his late wife was never far from his mind. He worried about repeating past mistakes or causing pain to someone he had come to respect and admire. Yet every day he observed Anna's determination, her honesty, and her kindness. He found himself drawn to her more and more. Her presence brought warmth to his life, and he began to feel emotions he thought he had buried forever. The tension between internal feelings and external pressures became more pronounced when a serious illness struck one of the ranch hands. The man was bedridden, leaving the ranch short-handed and struggling to manage the animals. Anna immediately took responsibility, working long hours without complaint. She coordinated the tasks, ensured the animals were cared for, and supported the other ranch hands in every way possible. Herrera watched her tireless efforts with growing admiration. He realized that her courage and commitment went far beyond simple work. She had the strength and character to face difficulties head-on, for the sake of others and for the ranch itself. But not everyone viewed Anna's dedication positively. Some villagers began to spread rumors, claiming she was trying to gain favor with Herrera for selfish reasons. Others suggested she was trying to manipulate him into marriage. Anna heard the whispers, but she refused to let them sway her. She knew her intentions were sincere. She was not seeking power or status. She was seeking love, trust, and a place where she could belong. One evening, after a long day of work, Herrera called Anna to the porch. The sun was setting, casting golden light over the plains, and the air was calm and quiet. He spoke carefully, his voice low but serious. "Anna, I have been thinking about you and about us. You have shown courage, patience, and honesty in ways I did not expect. I respect you deeply, and I am beginning to feel something more than respect." Anna felt her heart leap. She had long hoped for this acknowledgement but feared it might never come. I care for you too, sir," she said softly. Her voice trembled slightly, not from fear, but from the weight of honesty. "I have learned so much here, and I respect you greatly. But I hope you see me as more than someone who works on your ranch. I hope you can see my heart." Herrera looked at her thoughtfully. I do see you, Ana, more than I can say, but we must be careful. The world outside this ranch will judge us, and we cannot control what people think or say. We must trust ourselves and our feelings first. Ana nodded. She understood the risks, but she also felt a sense of relief that Herrera was acknowledging the bond between them. Despite this growing understanding, challenges continued. A sudden storm one night damaged part of the ranch, knocking over fences and flooding fields. Ana and Herrera worked side by side through the night, repairing fences, securing animals, and ensuring that nothing worse happened. The physical strain was immense, but the shared effort brought them closer. They began to realize that their relationship was not just emotional, but also practical. They complemented each other, each contributing strengths to face challenges together. As the storm passed and the morning sun rose, Ana felt a renewed sense of purpose. She realized that love was not just about feelings. It was also about partnership, trust, and mutual support. Herrera, standing beside her as they surveyed the repaired fences, understood the same truth. Their connection was no longer a simple attraction. It was a growing partnership built on respect, shared hardships, and understanding. Yet even as they strengthened their bond, doubt and fear lingered. Ana worried about village gossip. Herrera worried about repeating past mistakes, and both wondered if the challenges ahead would be too great. They had built trust, but trust could be tested. Could they navigate the complexities of life, external judgment, and internal fears without losing what they had found? One afternoon, a small incident brought these questions into focus. A neighboring woman approached the ranch, curious and judgmental, asking pointed questions about Ana's role and relationship with Herrera. Ana answered politely, avoiding confrontation, but she could feel the tension building. Herrera stepped forward calmly, addressing the neighbor with clarity and fairness. Ana realized in that moment how much she had learned from him, not just skills and patience, but the ability to handle difficult social situations with composure and dignity. As the weeks passed, Ana and Herrera continued to face challenges together, both external and internal. The bond they shared deepened with every task, every conversation, and every shared hardship. They began to understand that love required more than emotion. It required courage, trust, patience, and resilience. Their connection was no longer a secret or a quiet hope. It was a living, growing reality that demanded attention, care, and mutual respect. By the end of this period, Ana and Herrera had reached a turning point. They had faced challenges that tested their skills, their patience, and their trust in each other. They had confronted internal doubts and external pressures. And through it all, they had come to see each other clearly. Ana as a woman of courage, strength, and heart, and Herrera as a man capable of opening his heart again, despite the scars of loss. The stage was now set for the final chapter, where both would have to make choices that could define their future together. They had proven themselves individually and as partners, but would the love they felt be strong enough to overcome the uncertainties that lay ahead? The months had passed quickly at the ranch, each day filled with work, challenges, and small victories. Ana had become an integral part of the ranch's life, earning Herrera's respect and admiration through her courage, intelligence, and unwavering determination. The bond between them had grown steadily, quietly transforming from respect and trust into something deeper, something neither of them could ignore any longer. Yet, as much as they had grown close, the question of love remained. Both were cautious, aware of the risks and the judgments of the village. Ana feared that her hopes might be fragile illusions, while Herrera worried that opening his heart fully could lead to pain he had avoided for years. But despite these fears, they found themselves drawn to each other more and more, their connection evident in shared glances, gentle words, and the silent understanding that only grew stronger with time. One bright morning, Herrera called Ana to the main field. "I have a task that requires your attention," he said, his voice calm but serious. Anna followed, curious. The task involved preparing the ranch for the arrival of a traveling merchant who would deliver supplies and trade animals. It required careful organization, attention to detail, and patience. Anna approached the work with her usual dedication, coordinating the tasks with efficiency and care. As they worked together, Herrera watched Anna carefully. Her confidence, her intelligence, and her determination shone in every action. He realized that his feelings for her were no longer simple admiration or respect. They had grown into something much deeper. He cared for her truly and fully, and he knew that he wanted her in his life, not just as a helper but as a partner, a companion, and perhaps even more. The moment came later that day when Anna paused to rest, leaning against a fence and wiping the sweat from her brow. Herrera approached quietly and spoke. "Anna, I have something I need to say. You have become an essential part of this ranch and my life. I respect you, I admire you, and I care for you deeply. More than I expected, more than I have felt in a long time." Anna's heart raced. She had hoped for this, dreamed of it even, but hearing it spoken aloud filled her with warmth and relief. She looked into his eyes and saw sincerity, respect, and a gentle vulnerability she had never noticed before. "I care for you too, sir," she said softly. "I have from the moment I began working here. You see me not just as someone who works on the ranch, but as a person. That means everything to me." Herrera smiled, a rare and genuine smile, and extended his hand. "Anna, would you consider building a life with me? Not as an obligation, not as a duty, but as a choice we make together." Anna's eyes glistened with tears of happiness. She took his hand, feeling the warmth and strength in it. "Yes, Herrera, I would. I want to share my life with you." The announcement was not without its challenges. The villagers had long speculated about Anna and Herrera, and now that their connection was clear, opinions were divided. Some expressed admiration, noting Anna's courage and Herrera's fairness. Others murmured criticism, skeptical that love could bloom between two people with such different experiences. But Anna and Herrera had learned over the past months that external opinions could not define their choices. They had built a bond strong enough to withstand judgment, relying on respect, trust, and shared experience. Preparations for their future together began slowly. Anna moved more fully into the life of the ranch, not as a temporary helper, but as a partner. She took part in decision-making, managed tasks alongside Herrera, and helped coordinate the work of the ranch hands. Herrera, in turn, opened his heart more fully than he had in years. He shared his memories, his fears, and his hopes, allowing Anna to see the depth of the man she had come to love. Together, they created a rhythm of life that was both practical and emotional, a balance between work and companionship, responsibility and love. Their relationship also strengthened through small, meaningful moments. Anna would often sit beside Herrera in the evenings, watching the sun set over the plains, talking about dreams, fears, and the future. Herrera admired her insight, her ability to see the world clearly, and the courage she displayed in facing every challenge. Anna admired Herrera's calm wisdom, his dedication to fairness, and his quiet strength. These moments, simple yet profound, laid the foundation for a lasting connection built on mutual understanding and deep affection. However, life at the ranch continued to test them. One summer, a severe drought struck the region, threatening the water supply and the health of the livestock. The ranch hands grew anxious, and the cattle grew weak. Anna and Herrera worked tirelessly, rationing water, reinforcing storage, and seeking solutions to protect the animals. The crisis required every ounce of their skill, patience, and cooperation. Yet, even in the midst of the hardship, their partnership grew stronger. They relied on each other, communicated without hesitation, and supported each other through long, exhausting days. During these trying times, Herrera realized the depth of his feelings. He saw not only Anna's strength but also her compassion, intelligence, and resilience. She was more than a helper or a companion. She was a person whose heart matched the courage of her spirit. He knew that life without her would be diminished, that the love he had been afraid to feel was precisely what he needed to embrace fully. Anna, too, recognized the significance of their bond. She understood that love was not only about affection, but also about partnership and trust. She saw Herrera not just as a man of authority, but as someone who valued her equally, who relied on her judgment, and who shared responsibility and care for the ranch and the people around them. Her admiration for him had grown into deep affection and now into love, a love rooted in respect, shared hardship, and mutual understanding. The turning point came one evening as they surveyed the ranch after a long day of work. The sky was painted in shades of orange and pink, and the air carried the quiet calm of the plains. Herrera turned to Anna, his eyes reflecting both vulnerability and hope. "Anna, we have faced so much together, the work, the challenges, and even the doubts in our hearts. But through it all, I have come to realize that life is better when shared. I cannot imagine this ranch or my life without you." Anna felt tears prick her eyes. She stepped closer, taking his hand in hers. "I feel the same way, Herrera. I never imagined I could belong somewhere or with someone the way I belong with you. You see me, you respect me, and you care for me. That is all I have ever wanted." With their feelings openly shared, Anna and Herrera began planning their life together. They spoke of marriage, family, and the future of the ranch. But beyond practical plans, they focused on nurturing the emotional bond they had built, the respect, trust, and affection that had grown steadily over the months. They knew life would continue to bring challenges, but they also knew that together, they could face anything. Their story became an example to the community. Villagers who had once whispered or doubted began to recognize the genuine connection between Anna and Herrera. They saw that the relationship was not built on convenience or expectation, but on shared effort, mutual respect, and deep care. Slowly, admiration replaced skepticism, and Anna and Herrera's bond was celebrated rather than questioned. As time passed, Anna and Herrera's love continued to deepen. They faced challenges, celebrated successes, and built a life together rooted in trust and partnership. Anna no longer felt the emptiness of loneliness. She had found a place where she belonged, not only in Herrera's life, but in the life of the ranch and the wider community. Herrera, too, had opened his heart, learning that love could return even after loss, bringing warmth, companionship, and joy to a life that had once been solitary. Finally, the day came when Herrera proposed formally, not as a request of obligation, but as an invitation to share life fully together. Anna accepted, her heart full of gratitude and love. Their union was celebrated quietly but joyfully, with the ranch and the plains around them as witnesses to a love that had been earned through courage, patience, and mutual respect. Anna and Herrera's story became a testament to the power of honesty, resilience, and partnership. They had faced doubt, fear, and external pressures, yet they had built a life together rooted in understanding and care. Their love was not sudden or effortless. It had grown steadily, shaped by shared challenges and the recognition of each other's worth. In the end, they had found what both had longed for: a partner, a companion, and a love that could endure. As Anna stood beside Herrera, watching the sun set over the plains, she felt a deep sense of peace. She had faced her fears, spoken her truth, and taken a risk that changed her life forever. And in Herrera's presence, she had found not just love, but belonging, respect, and partnership. Together, they looked forward to the future, ready to face whatever challenges might come, secure in the knowledge that they would do so side by side.